Now, the news. One of the weirdest ARs to hit the market in the last 10 years is back. Franklin Armory, along with FRAC, recently won a lawsuit against the government regarding a gun called the Reformation. Adam actually covered the case on our show, The Big 2A, so if you want a little more detail on that, go watch that video. The gun is what I'm focused on because it's just flat out strange. Think of an AR-15. It's very similar. Now, remove the twist from the rifling in the barrel. It's just straight. Imagine the lands and grooves being straight down the bore. That's what we have here with the Franklin Armory Reformation. The product was clearly created as a f*** you to the ATF, and I'm here for it. There are two versions. The RS-11 has an 11-inch barrel, and the RS-7 has a 7.5-inch barrel. Both can be had in either 5.56 or 300 blackout. Oddly enough, the price difference between the two is larger than you might think. With the binary trigger installed on both, the MSRP for the 11-incher is $1,670, while the 7.5 is $1,180. No idea why there's such a price gap. I couldn't figure it out. You can also get it without a binary if you don't like fun for a little less money. To me, these are more of a representation of the anti-tyranny movement rather than something that's effective at anything outside of being a range toy. And that's fine. That's fine by me. I have a bunch of dumb guns on the wall behind me and own them because they're goofy. You guys have probably noticed Project Atrocious sitting behind me. It's a 4-inch 5.56. It's hilarious and dumb. I'd love to hear what you guys think of the Reformation. Think if it's worth grabbing, maybe it's dumb. I want to know what you guys think. Put that down in the comments, and I've already reached out to them to see about getting one of those for a review, because I think that'd be fun. Welcome back to another episode of the Gun Collective News. I'm John Patton, and GunCon tickets are on sale right now over at guncon.net. The event is in June in Cleveland, Ohio, June 28th. And the first 2,000 people that show up will get one of these limited edition patches. Once they're gone, that's it, from Patch Ops, on top of the other stuff that you're going to get. It's going to be rad. We're going to have all these brands coming and all these creators, plus a bunch of other creators that I don't have pictures for. And of course, you guys will be there. Go get your tickets at guncon.net before they're gone. Moving on, HK is in the news with the American release of the G36 in 22 long rifle. This is made in partnership with Umarex, however you want to pronounce that, and it looks like the big boy G36. The barrel length is 18 inches, it weighs 5.5 pounds, and is largely made of polymer like the 5.56 version of the gun. You can fire it with the stock folded, which is neat, and it comes with the sights on that top rail. And I honestly think it would be pretty cool to have one of these. I like the G36 a lot, so this would be fun, especially if they did it in a shorter barrel pistol form. Hey, HK, make that happen. MSRP here is $679, which isn't horrendous. Also in the news this week, a company called Mendoza Firearms is coming to the U.S. with their RM22 rifles. There are 3 flavors that are only slightly different from each other. All of them come with a 21.25 inch barrel. It's a very strange measurement. A tubular mag that holds 17 rounds. And they claim accuracy of 1.4 inch groups at 50 meters or 54.7 yards. The 1000 comes with a more simplistic stock, while the 3000 adds a fancier thumb hole stock and a pick rail on top of the receiver. And the 6000 has a Monte Carlo style stock. This is a Mexican company, and I couldn't find any info on MSRP, so you guys can just make that up below. According to the press release, this is the first Mexican-made firearm to be imported into the U.S. I have no idea if that's actually true, but if it is, that's kind of neat overall. Springfield is back in the news with a slightly new version of the TRP, aka their more tactical 1911. The thing that's new here is that it's now rocking the AOS, or Agency Optic System. That's from Agency Arms. We've seen that system proliferating out into the optic mounting world a bit more recently. They're offering this new option on the standard 5-inch version, as well as the 4.25 Carry Contour, or CC version. And both can be had in black or coffee ice cream brown, and you can get them with either 9 or 45 ACP chambering. I asked you guys last week if you thought 1911s are obsolete or still relevant, and as far as I can tell, it's kind of split down the middle. These TRPs have a great reputation, and they should for the MSRP of $2,000. I'm kind of curious what optic mounting standard you guys are preferring these days. To me, the Bull Armory optic mounting system is actually really rad the way it's thought out, and I'm getting more interested in this agency setup. I don't have any guns with it, but seems neat. While you're typing up your thoughts on that in the comments, how's about a word from this week's sponsor, Vertex? Vertex makes some of my favorite EDC bags and apparel, and they just released the new Siege series of bags. These are built for grit. They adapt seamlessly from tactical needs to rugged adventures and global travel. These bags are built with purpose in mind for just about any situation. Whenever I'm moving gear around, I'm doing it in a Vertex bag, and if you use our code TGC over at vertx.com, you'll save a bunch of cash, and now you can grab one of their new Siege bags with that same code. They come in a sling or a backpack version. I think they're great. Big thanks to Vertex for supporting TGC. Let's keep it rolling with this week's Friendly Fire question. If you want to ask me a question, slam it down in the comments with the words Friendly Fire so that I can actually go back and find it. That is very helpful. We've got one this time from Potato Puffer over on Floatplane. All of our videos are ad-free over on Floatplane. If you're interested, check it out. He says, what's your take on optics that are made in the USA? Are you willing to pay more for an optic made in the US? If so, how much? I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I don't care where it's made as long as it's good. US made is nice. That's nice to have. But in my mind, it has to be US made and good for me to give it. I think a lot of people will lean towards buying US made products regardless of their quality. And when it comes to optics, the quality matters so much more than anything else to me when I'm pulling out my wallet. I'm also pretty damn spoiled when it comes to optics, and I don't have to buy a lot of them these days. So when I do, I'm either going ultra cheap or on the high end. There is no middle of the road if I'm paying. How's about some gun adjacent news? SIG announced 2 new optics this week under the Romeo RS line. RS stands for reinforced steel. So essentially, these are sort of a steel chassis wrapped in polymer, and they claim that this makes these things very, very strong. It also has aluminum pillars around where the mounting screws go, and that's nice. They also have a brass threaded insert into the side where the battery tray goes, because threading a screw directly into polymer is a terrible idea on an optic. And there are 2 versions, the RS Pro and the RS Compact. The Pro is a larger window setup, larger optic, and the Compact is compact and meant for smaller optic patterns. They say it's meant for the 365. And the pricing here really isn't that bad. The Pro has an MSRP of $200, while the Compact is $149. That's really not bad at all, if they're good. Magpul is also in the news this week with a new 20-round version of their T-Mag. That's the translucent mag. MSRP is $24. I'd love to hear if you guys out there have been using these, if any of you have. I haven't heard much about them yet, so if you have experience, put it in the comments. CCI is finally shipping the 22 Magnum uppercut rounds that they have optimized for handguns, or so they say. It's got a 40-grain hollow point going 1,050 feet per second out of a short barrel, which is pretty nice. 22 Magnum as a defensive round isn't my first choice, but I suppose something is better than nothing in just about every case. That makes sense. Federal is now shipping their 10mm hunting loads in their PowerShock lineup, which is pretty nice. It's got a 200-grain hollow point going just over 1,100 feet per second, and I personally think that's loaded a bit soft for a 10 mil, but if the velocity works with the expansion of that bullet, like if those matched up, that could be good. However, if I'm going hunting with a 10 mil, I'm going to use Underwood because they load them to pissing hot velocities like a 10 mil should be. And speaking of how things should be, if you live within 8 hours of Cleveland, Ohio, you should be buying tickets to GunCon this year over at guncon.net. It's just the right thing to do. See you there.